Well, let's talk about people at campgrounds. We are in Idaho, a place called Hammer Creek. This particular campground is for canoes and rafts and kayaks because we are right on the Salmon River. It's right behind that table over there. But more in general, this particular campground fills up in the evening. It's currently Friday. There's no one here, but in the last two nights, massive amounts of rafters. They come in. I guess the other trucks pick them up, bring them down to the next place, and it kind of really fills up. So, this campground here is sort of peripheral for camping. Like camping is not its primary function. I think it's more of stopover for the river or fishing. The Salmon River apparently is great for fishing. Um, so let's just talk about people and having conversations. Um, so, as it goes, I mean, I am a counselor by trade. So I like talking. I like hearing about people's stories. But let me just tell you, for those people who are out here and um, full timing like we are, starting up conversations. At least this is my experience. Um, and who knows, I might be speaking to some people right now who are the people I'm about to describe. As a counselor, I can tell you that the world is filled with people who need to tell their story. Most of the world is filled with talkers and not listeners. Um, it actually takes practice to learn to listen. Spiritually, you can do that. In my trade, I learned to listen. But there's still counselors out there that don't listen. Um, so, listening is on this planet a skill that we need to learn. I'll get into that in a minute. But for the most part, the vast majority of people are talkers. And they get very excited and overzealous when they meet somebody who is willing to listen to their story. As a counselor, people are there to tell you about their life, tell you about things pertinent to what they came to see you for. So if they're having a problem with their spouse, you can delve into some pretty deep places on that issue. Out here, people tend to tell their story, how many kids they have, where their kids are at, and here's my ailments. I have a knee replacement surgery. I spent time in jail. I blah 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 blah, and I'm out here and I'm this age, and here's what's going on. And if you open up a conversation, at least with me, this is my experience. They want to tell you their whole story. Now the thing is I like listening to people's stories, but sometimes it just gets exhausting because I'm realizing how one-sided the conversation is. In my job, it's expected. I'm going to listen, 75% of the time. But out here, you would think, people want to know about you and, they're going to ask about you. And that's just not the case. Not what I've been finding. In fact, these opening questions, which is like, so where are you from? And we'll say, Texas. And, oh, my daughter lives in Texas and this and that other thing, blah, 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 blah. What part? Tell them where we live. Oh yeah, I spent years ago back there. Let me tell you a story about Blah, blah, blah. They don't even say let me tell you a story. I don't know why I'm adding that, but they're going to tell you about their entire lives and their experiences, and then their daughter's experience and their son's experiences. And they don't realize they're hijacking the conversation. They don't realize that they're not asking anything about me. They don't want to know about me. They don't want to know anything. And I don't think it's deliberate. It's not consciously thought about. It is just so automatic because we're so used to not being heard. So they got to get as much out as possible to this perfect stranger. Because I'm sure at home and with friends and family, they're doing warfare. You know, they're battling to get to be heard, just to be heard in the world. And, you know, it's amazing to watch. When I witness a lot of people sort of hanging around with each other and doing just having conversations, talking to each other. It's usually very heavy small talk. And maybe it's just me. Small talk is just not my thing. I can do it. I'm really great at doing it. I'm great at starting up conversations with folks and meeting people and all that. But I crave deeper conversation. When I say deeper conversation, I mean sort of a give and take, learning about the world, things going on in someone's life that are pertinent to their growth and having some foundation on that level. Last night, Arlene and I were walking around the campground, and there was a guy who waved to us, and we waved back. And then I just said, hey, perfect night for sleeping, right? It's going to be nice and cool tonight. He gets out of his chair and he comes over. And he is drunk off his arse. And, you know, there's a lot of weird things go along with that. You know, he's not looking at you when he's talking. He's like a close talker. If you ever watch Seinfeld, you know, the close talkers. And, you know, we were being polite, and we learned that, you know, all sorts of things about where he was, what he did, how he was in Glacier, he fell off the hill, and, you know, this and that and the other thing. He has one brother, and, you know, he's been out there, he's 66 years old, blah, blah, blah. And if you asked him, tell us just the names of these people, tell us anything about these people you talk to, he would have absolutely no idea. I don't think he could pick me out of a lineup. It's just that way. And it's the way of things out here. So you need to develop the skill of allowing that to take place. And maybe they need to hear you. I mean, they need for you to hear them. And I think that they just, again, they don't have anybody to really hear them. Plenty of people to talk to, talk at, but not with. There's no with. There are very few people that asked about our lives out here. And we've been out for a few years. We have now been out over 8 months this year. And I would say there's 2 people that asked 25% about us. And, you know, both we made friends with, got their number, you know, that kind of thing. And, you know, called us amazing neighbors and great people on the road. And I'm thinking that's what it is. We're walking around in this world alone. And this is why families, you know, stick together are so important, because it's like, oh, you know me already, you know. Like, but I think people crave also to be rediscovered, you know, like I'm not the same as I was, you know. I go to my mom's house, you know, when I'm 40 and you know, she'll say something like, hey, you know, clean up over there. I was like, right, Mom, and I'm acting like I'm 14. So that's has its dynamic, but that's not fun. That's why we can only spend so much time with our families in the holidays. But we crave being known, being heard. And as you get older, you wind up telling too much of your story. Here's what I did. Here's how much money I have, and a lot of personal things. And I know Dr. Jordan Peterson warned against doing that. It's one of the things that he spoke about on a podcast, pretty in depth and involved, because you don't want to be forgotten. You want to tell everybody what's going on. But that is something out here that needs to be understood. Now, the weird thing about it is that's because it's coming from my perspective. If you're those people, and I've heard this, you're doing battle with each other out here. Yeah, I'm this and that, and blah, 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 blah. And then each one tries to take over the other about whose story they're going to listen to and who has the best story. It's a little bit of a, giant, who has the giant wiener. And at the end of the day, one loses, and you kind of walk away dissatisfied. And we've talked to those people later, and they sort of want to get out of there. And it's like we're all passing each other up in the night. But anyway, if you have anything to add to that, please leave a comment. And if you like these little monologues, I'm definitely leaning towards starting the channel and just kind of talking like this and maybe showing you some places that we've been and are. Here is the campground that we're in. Yeah. And signing off.